Well, you see the painting, and it's spectacular. It was drawn by Las Vegas resident Neal Portnoy. You're going to see it in just a second. He's a talented artist who specializes in sports. Chris Matthews caught up with the artist who talks about his work in a huge drawing that covers an entire wall in Allegiant Stadium.
Well, you know what? Being from Boston, having lived there my whole life, I get to watch Tom Brady for 20 years do this. So I'm sitting at the drawing board. I got a couple days before any commission work's coming in. And I said, you know what? I got to do a Super Bowl piece. So I start the process for me, researching photos because I work from photographs, found a good head and shoulders of Brady, found one of Patrick Mahomes. And then I started illustrating. I went, you know what? I don't want to just do the two of them. I got to put the coaches in because the coaches are the personalities. And then I'm like, all right, now I got to do, what's the logo for the Super Bowl? I had to find that. And then I did a little silhouette. If you look really closely at the drawing, it's the Tampa Bay skyline of the silhouette. So now it's the balancing act. Now you got to kind of design it. And, you know, I work with magic markers. And unlike oils, acrylics, and watercolors where you can mix colors, markers are stained. So you put it down, it's down. So now you're talking tight little areas. And, you know, I'm old at this stage. You know, I can only do 2 hours at a time, whatever, before the eyes go. And I really got into this piece. And Chris, I think it's one of the best pieces I've ever done. People would always ask me, what's the best piece you've done? And I answer it the same way every time, the next one. Well, you know what? This was the next one. And we had talked earlier, you know, I got to call my old friend and say, hey, how can we use this in your broadcast?
Well, it looks terrific. And I think, you know, you mentioned the skyline, the two quarterbacks, but boy, the two coaches also, just the detail with those coaches in the background looks good.
Thanks. It's amazing. You smell those things for 10 minutes, the markers, you'll be just like me. I'm an ex-baseball player. I'm a jock who happens to be able to draw. So it's like when I'm doing a football player, I've played the game, you know, not to the ability of these two guys, but at least I know what I'm drawing. And I think that's a huge advantage when I do sports. And I've done, you know, every major sport.
How many paintings have you done of Tom Brady?
Excuse me, I did a beautiful one of him with Gillette in the background, action poses, and then the Butler interception game with Seattle. I illustrated a Super Bowl piece on that one. And I've done some cartoons of him before in the past. I have always said that Robert Kraft should own all of my Patriot artwork because at Gillette Stadium, they have a beautiful exhibit in their Hall of Fame. I should be the illustrator for their Hall of Fame. Who knows? You don't know what's going to happen.
Well, let me add, speaking of stadiums and beautiful drawings, talk about your drawing that sits inside Allegiant Stadium right now, where someday fans will get to go in there and see it.
Well, it's called Raiders Through the Years. It features 28, I believe, the greatest names in Raiders history. And it's a collage of all of the players, and it's blown up 28 by 40 feet in Allegiant Stadium. I have not seen it yet. I've had workers come to me and say, hey, we saw your piece in the stadium. And then, you know, there's a non-disclosure agreement. Technically, although people have posted it, I'm not allowed to say that because Mark Davis, who supports the arts, wonderful to the art community, has got a number of artists from Michael Goddard, the great Michael Goddard, to a number of local talent that have pieces in the stadium. Mine just happens to be the largest one.
Well, that's terrific. Let me ask you a final question, Neal. Who do you like in the Super Bowl?
Tampa Bay. Yeah, listen, I think the spread's like 3.5 or something, and Patrick Mahomes is still the wild card. But I've learned as somebody from Boston for 20 years, you do not bet against Tom Brady. He's the GOAT.
Thanks so much, Chris. Still to come on